So if you don't know who XQC is, you're probably not studying linguistics, you can't understand 500 words at the speed of Mach 1, and you're not an expert in hieroglyphics. Because that is the baseline for understanding XQC, let alone watching his streams.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm jumping off over there. What do you want to do with that, man?
What'd you say, bitch, man?
I would know this because I've been watching XQC for some years now, and I'm confident that I can understand every language that requires speaking incomprehensibly and incoherently. So basically I'm good at understanding French-Canadian.
God, please not France or Canada. Hello, sir. Where am I?
Quebec, huh? Va-t'en, son Simonac de fucking enfant! Tabernacle!
The word surrender is used a lot in French. But basically, XQC is a French-Canadian Twitch streamer that speaks algebraic English.
In the dialogue, there's the recipient and the dialogator.
And he is one of the top streamers, if not the biggest streamer, even though he accepted a contract for 100 mil with Kick. But XQC is always topping the charts for most watched hours by his viewers. And this is down to his personality, the amount of hours he streams. This guy streams 24-hour streams almost daily. And he actually streams the amount of hours like a full-time job. We're talking 8-hour streams, almost daily. And all of that topped off with his small brain and spaghettios for words.
Cheeto.
He is a good streamer to watch, in my opinion. And by that I mean a streamer you don't just put on in the background, you actually physically watch for that amount of time. Just like Kai Cenat's or Gemma's streams. But you can't have that large enough of a fan base and stream for that long and not be involved in some drama. And XQC has the holy bible for amount of drama. From disagreeing with HasanAbi and Pokimane, for getting reprimanded by the Overwatch League for making a joke, and everyone thinking he's racist just for putting an emote in the chat when someone was speaking. But this video is not about those. And it's not about his recent drama involving him watching YouTube videos on his platform. For those of you that don't know, he's been getting backlash because he played someone's video, and for most of the video he wasn't even there, and then that was immediately uploaded to YouTube by his editor. But no, we're going to be talking about XQC's ex-girlfriend and the divorce case. Because boy oh boy is that a juicy one with twists and turns, manipulation, toxicity, and a McLaren going missing. So anyway, the person that was actually in a relationship with XQC is called Adept. And she does not have the best of history. She's had previous Overwatch teammates come out and basically leak DMs showing that she's racist, toxic, a little homophobic, and just an all-around bitch. But XQC and Adept met through Overwatch. Yes, I know, dead game. Let's just say that the peak of Overwatch was in those 2016-2017 days, let's be honest here. But XQC mainly knew Adept through her streams, and she obviously knew him from his streams. And there were some unconfirmed rumours at the time that when she was trying to get with XQC, she had a boyfriend already. Which at this point I wouldn't be surprised. Just reading those leaked DMs makes me have no hope for this person. But they got to know each other and eventually got together in 2017. And this lasted a long time, with constant arguments and constant breaks in the relationship. But majority of the time they made peace with each other and stayed together. And I think this is down to XQC's philosophy of the more you cut a rope, the closer it is together or something. Basically meaning the more conflict you have with a person, the closer you are.
Against the world, man. Relationships are like a rope. You cut it, right? When you put it back together, it makes both ends closer to each.
Which isn't a bad philosophy if that rope isn't being fucking shredded daily. But basically XQC kept that relationship going with that philosophy until she gave him one of the worst ultimatums ever. And if this is true, it makes her look like an utter asshole and just an all-around toxic bitch. But we'll get into that later. But first we're going to talk about how she contributed to his streams and his streaming life in general. Because we all know that guy's streaming life is basically overtime every day. And because he streams so much, he barely has time to make his own food and clean his own environment, which leads to him ordering food every day and his environment looking like an episode of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmare. Contrary to popular belief, Adept did help with some of the house chores, which led to everyone calling Adept his new mother, basically. And that has been a meme in his community for a while now. But XQC also did hire maids to clean up his house as well. So not all the house chores were dependent on Adept. And sometimes she did cook him food, but majority of his food came from ordering. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the fallout of the relationship. You later find that Adept wants something from XQC, and her basically taking care of him could be a supporting point of why she should get that. So cutting to 2022, when these two finally broke up, they basically broke up on stream, which is the worst thing to do.
I understand.
At this time, at all.
Okay, Sammy.
None of it.
I fucked
and
up.
now, even worse, you're breaking down the VOD of when I found out. You're breaking it down.
And the main reason for the breakup was because she gave him an ultimatum to leave his family and choose her, or they break up.
Like, I had to make a choice. I was cornered into choosing between family and Sammy. And unfortunately, what happened is that I kind of just chose family.
Now, that is the worst ultimatum you can probably give a person. And the only reason she gave this ultimatum was because XQC's family didn't like her. And as the story goes along, you quickly find out why they didn't like her. But XQC, after the breakup, mainly blamed himself for this, and publicly said so.
Because that's just, I don't know. Say it was my fault. But,
And you'd think that would be the end of the drama. He accepted the majority of the blame was to be put on him, and even told everyone not to harass Adept. And you'd think they would move on with their lives. But no, after the breakup, it gets a lot worse. The first incident being when she took his 300k McLaren, because it was under her name, because XQC doesn't have a license, but he still paid for it, which I don't think there's a lot you can do. It's under her name. He willfully put it under her name. And then she went on stream and basically bragged that she owns his McLaren, and even posted a Twitter picture saying she basically went on a date with someone in the McLaren. But supposedly in the end, XQC did get the McLaren back. But after that, things got a whole lot worse. When XQC was streaming, Adept came over to his house, uninvited, and started banging on his door, screaming that he was violating a court order. This led to XQC having to end stream. But after this incident, it just opened a whole can of worms, mainly because everyone now knows there are court proceedings going ahead, because she knowingly did it whilst he was streaming. And you may be wondering, what court proceedings are these? Well, the Adept was trying to tell people that her and XQC have been married for a long time, and that she is entitled to 50% of his total worth. But it's a weird point when the court case is under common law marriage, not under marriage. The key difference being common law marriage is when you live with a partner for more than 2 years. That is described as a common law marriage.
This is my wedding ring. That's a truthful statement. I've been married for 3 years. That's a truthful statement.
Now, XQC obviously denied this claim by saying he's always advocated that he was against marriage, which is true. In his streams he does mention that he never wants to get married till the day he dies, and there is no hard evidence that Adept has presented, such as their names in the marriage registry. But no, her evidence is that, he bought me this ring, and proceeds to make unsupported claims that they were married, simply because he bought me this ring, and to this day there is still no hard evidence that they were actually married, except for common law. And yes, there was a court case between them. She wanted 50% of what his total net worth was, and whilst the court proceedings were going ahead, XQC really wasn't allowed to touch his own money. And this involved changing the password to some of his cars, which she was banging on his door about. Now, I think some of you would be angry if someone tried to take 50% of your wealth because they thought they were owed it. But XQC really can't voice his own frustrations. He was advised not to really speak about the court case, yet Adept does this all the time on her Twitch streams, on Instagram, every platform imaginable. And the worst part is, she can say all these outlandish claims and XQC really can't disprove them. This being until the court case is over, which, as of today, isn't going to be for a while. And the court case keeps getting pushed back and back and back. And the funniest thing about the court case is the evidence. I'm going to be honest, Adept really doesn't have that much evidence to show that they were either married or in a common law marriage. And I don't think she can pay that divorce lawyer for long, so she's been throwing everything at the court. This is why she's been using pictures of rings, saying, oh, we were married. But if you thought that was desperation, it gets even worse. She tried to use Twitch chat messages in an ongoing court case. Yeah, so you know when you go in a streamer's chat and you put something in the chat? She tried to use that as evidence. And the point of the evidence being that she was getting abuse from XQC's community, most people calling her a fat whale and a gold digger. But it's just so bizarre to use that as evidence. Like, just imagine being in a court and they bring up Twitch chat like, This guy, and I quote, said, "Lil W, fat bitch." It's not the most concrete evidence, I must admit. So Adept's been using a lot of bizarre evidence and weird strategies to try and convince XQC's audience they were actually married and they still have an ongoing relationship. This includes a picture of Nicolas Cage, of all things. So basically they got a picture of Nicolas Cage around the same time, which kind of looks like they're still talking and still communicating. And she has been known to put pictures and stuff out there basically hinting they are still in contact. This doesn't just involve the Nicolas Cage situation, but XQC has said that she has been following him around. This includes when he went to LA, she would move to LA. When he went back to Texas, she would go back to Texas, to make it look like they were still talking and together. But in a weird twist, this isn't all Adept's fault. XQC has been making it kind of easy for her to do this. This involves a situation where she got in contact with XQC basically saying, "I think my life's in danger." And XQC came over to see if she was okay, and even stayed in the same house for the night, which was previously his, but now she has ownership over it. Personally, I think this is a terrible idea, to go to your ex's house that's been trying to convince your fans you're at fault, and most people know she's manipulative and desperate right now, let alone you were also in a court case against her. But this went as expected, if not worse. On XQC's side of things, he said she took pictures of him whilst he was sleeping. And these pictures, of course, were published on Adept's Instagram, as she usually does. And after that, she called the police to get him kicked out of his own house.
Okay. I'm getting out. Thank you for helping out.
But she basically says it was a mutual thing. XQC says she manipulated him and took pictures of whilst he was asleep. But if we go with Adept's side of the story, why would she call the police? It makes no sense. It makes more sense if she took pictures of XQC whilst he was sleeping, then called the police, one, to make it look like they were still in contact and XQC still loved her, and also to get him in trouble with the police. I personally think this is sort of XQC's fault as well. He shouldn't have gone over, knowing her past. And especially since he had a girlfriend at the time, this is nothing to do with him. But I think he still thought this was some of his responsibility, or he still has some feelings for her. But anyway, the court case has been pushed back, and is believed to take place in September. There's probably going to be a lot more drama coming out around that time period. But in summary, I think Adept's a crazy bitch, who I don't think deserves 50% of his total net worth, and XQC really needs to stop caring about her, which I know is a hard thing to do. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and that's it for the video. Bye-bye.